Well, as soon as you're, take your time, as soon as you're done. I'm going to call this meeting to order. If you would follow along with the Pledge of Allegiance and invocation from Chief Martin.
Good evening, Mayor, Board, and guests. Let's pray for just a moment. Father, thank you for another beautiful day in the Ozarks, and for those gathered tonight as we do the business of the city. Father, we just pray that pause it as discussions are had, that we do the best work, the best decisions to move the city of Branson forward for our residents, our businesses, and our visitors. Father, we thank you for the many blessings, and most importantly, for your forgiveness. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you, Chief. Madam Clerk, can we get a roll call, please?
Lucas? Howden? Cooper? Milton?
Here.
Denham?
Here.
LeBlanc?
Here.
Schultz?
Here.
Your Honor, you have a quorum.
Thank you. Before public comment, I just wanted to make a quick comment. As you know, we've completed the phase 1 of downtown, and it's open with. Did y'all like the roundabout we put in? Thought that was funny. What I wanted to announce was Full Throttle, their section now is closed off. So to be good neighbors, one of the owners informed me that their lot they have next to Momo's, they have graded it, they've put gravel down, they're gonna put a sign up that says free parking. They're going to visit with all the businesses along that closed section of street to let them know that their employees can park there, and it'll be open for public parking. So I just thought that was a great gift from them. They've really been a treat to work with, and so if you see them, just share some appreciation. So, Madam Clerk, do we have any speakers this evening?
Yes, sir. We have 4 speakers.
So please note there will be a 5-minute limit on all items listed on the agenda. This is a public comment section of the Board of Aldermen meeting. At this time, the board will hear the citizens who have signed up in the order they are listed. Please note the clerk will let the speakers know when they have 30 seconds left, and a notification will sound when their time is up. We ask that speakers wrap up their comments upon hearing the 30-second warning. If a speaker would like a board member to bring an item down from the consent agenda for additional discussion, please note this request during your comments. Please come to the freestanding mic to address the board. Madam Clerk.
Our first, I'm so sorry. Our first speaker is Ronnie Haston, speaking on fireworks.
Ronnie, are you here? Madam Clerk, who's next?
Our next speaker is Mona Miller, speaking on Branson Mural Project.
Hello, everybody. I'm back again. I'm working on the Branson Mural Project, where we hope to have many Patriot murals throughout Branson for the 250th birthday of this wonderful country. Well, on November the 8th, over at Lake Vibe, which used to be Area 71, we will begin painting one of those murals. Now, this mural is special because this mural is a paint by numbers mural to help folks with PTSD. My artists were here last week, laid the entire thing out as it's going to be. It's going to be with the theme of bringing them home. There's a part that won't be revealed until the 10th at noon. But I'm here because in order to make this happen, I'm going to have some sponsors, and I'm going to need some flyers. Okay? The flyers are going to cost me $210 to get 1,500 of them to make sure we have enough for the veteran packets and enough to put around town. I'll pass this around so you guys can see the flyer.
Mona, that really needs to go to Hillary, please. And it's supposed to go to the city clerk. Thank you.
Now, we've designed this wall so that even small children can paint rocks. For a donation of $5, you get a color and you get a spot on the wall to paint. This wall will then come to life. Once it is finished, we have an AI animator who will be animating this wall so that you'll be able to take a barcode picture and actually see the wall come to life. The wall's going to have such wonderful things in it as the Inspiration Tower, a ball knobber. It's going to tell the history of Branson. And if anyone out there would like to help us with a donation, we'll see that your name or logo gets on the wall somewhere. There will be hundreds of I Spy things for kids and families to come. Get a list and go out there and see if you can find that cricket, okay? See if you can find that worm, perhaps that fishing pole, maybe even Valcor. Since Area 71 prints Valcor dragons with 3D printing. So anything you might buy at Lake Vibe will be on the wall. A t-shirt, a hamburger, play some pool, listen to music, go dancing, or perhaps we might find Larry Milton, or we might find Silver Dollar City, or perhaps the Branson City logo. But I'm asking for folks to contact me through the Convoy of Honor. If you would like to help us with our financial problems, we've got, Sir Speedy has quoted me $240 in order to get the flyers. And that's my number one problem right now, is getting those flyers printed so that I can get them out across Branson, Springfield, Harrison, and to all of our vets during Veterans Week. So I hope you like the Paint by Numbers mural project.
Thank you, Mona. Very enthusiastic. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk?
Our next speaker is Michael London, speaking on Santa's idea for getting more people here during Ozark Mountain Christmas.
Ho, 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 it's Santa incognito. Did you know that even Santa vacations in Branson? It's true. Well, this old Santa was sitting at the Grand Country Pool. Even with my beard off, I was recognized. A nice family asked me, Santa, why you vacation in Branson? I said, because Branson's got the best Christmas celebration in the country, featuring world-class live music shows with world-class theme parks in a town all lit up for Christmas and never forgetting the true meaning of the season. So I told that young family that Ozark Mountain Christmas is dramatically important for the success of the town. So much so that its leader, Larry Milton, had a resolution, which I'm sure we can get a copy of for us, that said that Ozark Mountain Christmas was to be the official name of the season and asking everybody in the community to help promote it. Now, there was a dilemma that some businesses in town, well, they don't want any Christmas marketing until the last chance for fall non-Christmas business. So there's been a battle for almost 2 years since Larry made that recommendation or resolution. And this old Santa had a quandary about that because Ozark Mountain Christmas starts November 1st, and that's not far away. Well, it's critical to the whole community, but especially shows to get crowds started early with money because of all the money that they've invested in putting on a brand new show with brand new costumes, staging, etc. So adding to the dilemma is that travel is planned by research for 4 to 6 months in advance for holiday travel. So if you wait until November 1st before you start advertising Ozark Mountain Christmas, you're in big trouble. As it happens, the last time we had a new marketing director, the program of advertising didn't start until Thanksgiving, with the idea, she said, of who wants to think about Christmas before Thanksgiving? Everybody knows that. And, well, Elvis was on the homepage of the Christmas show page for months. So Santa, I went back to the room as Santa, remember? And I turned on the TV, and there was Hallmark with a Christmas in July promotion. Well, it's not even July yet. Well, they do 4 days of continuous Christmas shows to be able to promote the Christmas in July promotion. So we're already seeing Christmas out there now. So I popped out my phone and I asked AI to come up with a brilliant, complete overview of how Branson could use the Christmas in July events to promote its own Ozark Mountain Christmas. And when I did that, it gave me incredible information. In fact, it gave me a professional marketing report in about a nanosecond. It was so fast. And I brought a copy here for you tonight. The most important thing was, though, if you look at the plan, the program, there were 2 networks that do Christmas promotions, and the Great American Family Research said they cater to a faith-driven, family-oriented audience that mirrors Branson's core visitors, families, couples, and travelers seeking a wholesome, rich tradition. They have a curated celebration of holiday traditions offering a unique backdrop for Branson's ads. A thematic marathon for small town Christmas shows and a faith-based Friday.
30 seconds.
30, perfect for Silver Dollar City. Okay, the bottom line in 30 seconds is that neither report about Ozark Mountain Christmas had mentioned live music show productions. Neither one mentioned it, and that's because of the marketing that's been done. They go out into the universe collecting information that appears on all the different websites, and that's the conclusion. So your shows, our shows, have not been promoted, and I have a plan to do that, which would involve the city putting in a little contingency money and the TCED putting in a little contingency money, and I'll put in a little contingency money, and off we could go and be involved with the Great American Family Channel to promote Ozark Mountain Christmas. Ho, ho, ho.
Thank you, Michael. Madam Clerk?
Our final speaker is Gary Groman. Speaking on a simple yes or no vote turns into a train wreck.
Good evening. At a special meeting of the Branson Board of Aldermen, it was very clear to everyone that the board was going to vote against expanding the firework dates allowed in Section 4255 of the Branson Municipal Code. Currently, Section 4255 authorizes the public discharge of fireworks on July 3rd and 4th from 7 a.m. until 12 midnight. The proposal would have allowed for the public discharge of fireworks on July 2nd through 6th from 7 a.m. until 12 a.m. midnight. That was the only thing basically in the proposal. Many aldermen shared that they received overwhelming public feedback through texts, calls, and emails wanting a no vote on the measure. Alderman Glenn Schultz started out by saying, yep, same thing, same comment. I've gotten a lot of texts, calls, emails, people expressing concern on this. In my opinion, it is at this point that his carping, ostentatious behavior turns into what should have been a simple yes or no vote into a train wreck. Because of time, I will use just 2 of his comments to illustrate. Alderman Schultz said, I've also had people point out the typos and grammatical errors in the bill. My comment would be, so what? Were they even specified by Schultz? Did he make any effort to amend the bill to correct the alleged errors in the bill? Did they impact on your ability to vote on the ordinance? Those are actually rhetorical questions, the answers to which are no. He just carped on. Schultz says, I'd also like to point out that even if this was for serious consideration on our part, that what the ordinance is addressing is incomplete. My comments. Surely Alderman Schultz knows that calling a special meeting and placing an item on the agenda for the board is serious consideration. Also, as to what the ordinance is addressing, the dates and times in section 4255 of keeping in perspective, being incomplete, it was complete enough either way for you all to vote on it, and you did. Although I could go on and on, item by item, from his comments on SB 81 to his smokescreen and mirror use of the regular noise ordinance as compared to the fireworks ordinance, what really concerns me is the misleading and negative aspects of his comments as to the work of city staff on the ordinance and the pathetic public performance in last Tuesday's meeting. In my opinion, that type of performance has no place coming from that dais. I would request, if there are any doubts, comments, or questions about what I just said and why I feel this way, or why you as a board should not tolerate such conduct, that you ask to state them now while I am standing here and can respond. In that case, to use Mr. Schultz's word, now I'm done, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Gary. Ronnie, have you come back in the room? No? Okay. Next is the consent agenda. Are there any items that any member of the board or staff would like to have moved down from the consent agenda to ask additional questions or make comments? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, would you please read the items on the consent agenda?
Your Honor, the items on the consent agenda are as follows. Approval of the Board of Aldermen minutes for the June 10th, 2025 study session and June 10th, 2025 regular meeting. Acknowledgement of disbursements for May 21st, 2025 through June 12th, 2025. Final reading of Bill Number 6554, an ordinance approving an amended and restated plan for an industrial development project for the Butterfly Palace expansion project, authorizing the city to engage bond counsel for the issuance of industrial revenue bonds, authorizing all other actions related necessary to issue bonds, and authorizing the mayor to execute an addendum to the development agreement for the expansion of the Butterfly Palace. Final reading of Bill Number 6555, an ordinance approving an amendment to the tourism and marketing services contract between the City of Branson and the Branson Lakes Area Chamber of Commerce and Convention and Visitors Bureau, and authorizing the mayor to execute the contract. And final reading of Bill Number 6556, an ordinance approving the contract with UKG for payroll and human resources information system software and authorizing the mayor to execute the contract. Your Honor, that concludes the reading of the consent
Do I
agenda.
have a motion approving all items on the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Madam Clerk, would you provide a roll call vote, please?
Lucas. Howden.
Yes.
Denham.
Yes.
LeBlanc.
Yes.
Schultz.
Yes.
The result of the vote is 5-0. Motion carries. Your Honor, this is the first reading of Bill Number 6557, an ordinance to readopt a procedure to disclose potential conflicts of interest and substantial interest for certain officials in order to remain in compliance with Missouri Ethics Commission requirements. It was referred back to staff during the June 10th, 2025 regular meeting. It has had a motion and second and is now ready for additional discussion. So we're going to throw the proposed changes up on the screen. They're going to be redlined. So the ask was to kind of clean up the language to make some of the phrases more consistent. I'm going to have Chad scroll down to the second page just to show the changes that we made. Keep going. Okay, so the first one is disclosure reports. The statute more consistently references financial interest statements, so that's the term that we use throughout, so keep scrolling there. So you can see those references. We just cleaned it up to say financial interest statements. And then as far as subsection B, this was a kind of a sample ordinance from the Ethics Commission. So there was more generic language in that we have added to be more specific to Branson. So those are the proposed changes, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Mr. Chairman, I move to amend Bill 6557 to accept all the changes shown in red.
We have a motion and a second. Any board member wish to discuss any of this? Glenn?
Just to say thank you to staff for reviewing this and making the changes. Appreciate it.
So we just need to call for the vote
I know.
on. Yeah, okay.
I got it.
Alrighty.
I'm just a statement under B. It was, I guess we felt it was necessary to enter in governing body of Branson and replace local political subdivision. Right, that wasn't clear. Any other comments from the board? Hearing none, let's vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oh, same sign. Ayes have it.
Okay, so, yeah, that was on the amendment, and now we just need to call for a vote on the bill as amended.
Any members of the board wishing to speak regarding this bill as amended? Anybody in the audience? Hearing none, let's vote. Let's vote on the bill as amended. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Ayes have it.
Your Honor, the next item is a presentation of Taney County Health Department 2024 Annual Report.
We'll begin with the report from Ms. Lisa Marshall.
Good evening. Thank you for having me tonight. I'm excited to share some of our highlights from 2024. As you know, we're busy every year, but we're exceptionally busy in 24, and I'm really excited to share that with you all tonight. Just a reminder, we serve all of Taney County residents and visitors. We do serve them through our 2 locations in both Forsyth and Branson, and we've got a board of 5 elected members. So just kind of the refreshers of how we are founded and where we serve people. We also have about 40 staff, and these are our 5 teams, which all of our staff fill these roles and serve the community in these capacities. So I'm going to go through our annual highlights just real quick to share just the big things we accomplished and just some of the numbers so you can see kind of what we're doing behind the scenes. So our clinical team is largely our nursing staff. We have a number of programs here. This is where we do a lot of our women's clinics, we do a lot of our vaccinations, we do our vital records programs, and a number of other things. You can see these numbers here. I'm not going to go through all of those, but just to show you kind of what our team is up to. Also, in terms of our appointments, this slide breaks down where our clinical team is serving the community. So we do also serve through these programs and other nursing programs, basically. We did do over 2,600 immunization appointments. Sometimes we have folks that come in from more than one, so that totaled throughout the year through those appointments over 5,000 vaccinations that were given throughout the community. That ranges anywhere from tetanus up to shingles, so it runs the gamut. We also have done quite a bit with our women's clinic. So we offer cancer screenings and we offer things like mammogram referrals. So we're serving a lot of folks that maybe wouldn't get that primary care elsewhere, so we can get them where they need to go through those screenings. So those are some of our larger programs that we operate throughout the county. We also offer labs. So for folks that maybe need to come and get a blood draw, we offer a pretty reasonable, financially reasonable solution at our facilities. Our Women, Infant, and Children is also known as WIC, and so that is our nutrition education program. It also includes a nutrition voucher they can take to the grocery store and purchase nutritious foods. It's very prescriptive, so there's only specific food items that they can purchase on those, and they have to be approved through the Missouri WIC program. So we did see about almost 17,000 appointments in 2024. And you can see the breakdown. So this program is for children 5 and under and pregnant women. However, a lot of folks don't realize that if you are maybe a grandparent or a father taking care of children that are 5 and under, that you would qualify for this program as well. It's just a really great benefit because if we can get kids started off on a healthy path early on, then they have better health outcomes as they age. And so we're really encourage this program for children 5 and under. In terms of what this does for our local community, you can see we brought in over $1 million in those food redemption of that with that program. And so those are those nutrition vouchers that families can take to the grocery store. They can purchase healthy foods, and that typically stays here locally in our grocery store. So those are dollars that we may not have had in our community. So we're always really excited to be able to help out with that. We also have a very high breastfeeding initiation rate. So this program also is working with families through our farmers market program. So the state has a program where we're able to give vouchers so families can actually go to a farmers market and purchase fresh produce. We do have a pretty high uptake of that, so families are excited when that comes out every year, and it's something that's going on right now. One of our other teams is the community outreach team. So these are our health educators. We work a lot in the community, taking health education out to businesses and schools and a variety of groups. They also do quite a bit of coalition work, and so we have a number of coalitions in our community, and we typically are involved with those and provide support as needed. You can see here on the slide, we have several of our programs that we've highlighted. We've hit some milestones this year with those programs that we're really excited about. So the biggest one I would say is the QPR training. It's a mental health crisis and suicide prevention training. It's 1 hour. It is offered to basically anybody that would like us to come out and provide that, we do. And in this, we've offered it since 2022, but in 24, we were able to hit that 1,000 mark. So we were able to provide that education to 1,000 individuals. This is one of those trainings where we go out, it's very basic tools that anybody can use. You don't have to be an expert in mental health, but we have actually gone out, provided this on a Tuesday, and by a Thursday, somebody is calling us and saying that they use those skills. So very user-friendly, something that people are actually using in our community to save lives. So we're very excited about that. We also distribute Narcan, and so we've had over 900 doses since 2022 that have been distributed in our community. And interestingly enough, we actually have some industries that have asked for that throughout the years where they do see overdoses in their facilities, unfortunately. So we partner with organizations that are asking for that to get them signed up so they can receive those and use those when they need them. Okay, so the last team I wanted to focus on was our environmental health services. And as you know, our contract is geared really around environmental health. So I'm going to focus just a bit more on that and provide you some of our numbers, what we did in 24. And so this is the breakdown of our different programs for environmental health. So you can see we've got lodging, our hotels, motels, we've got our restaurants, so that's our food facilities, our grocery stores, our food trucks. We've also got pools, massage, tattoo, and childcare. So this encompasses all that we're providing with that environmental health contract. So this is a breakdown of the 2024 environmental health inspections, and this is Branson specific. So as you can see, it sounds simple when we talk about our inventory, but really when we look at the inspection type, there's a variety of inspections that we provide. So annually, our facilities are getting their routine inspections. Oftentimes, they have revisits as well. So say they maybe needed to work on something or didn't pass their inspection the first time, we would come back for a revisit. We also work with businesses in a pre-open situation. So if we have a new business coming to town, we work with them to ensure that they've got everything they need to open that meets the code of whether it's lodging, pools, food, whichever program. So making sure that they've got everything that they need before they open. We also, sometimes people don't pass that pre-open on the first time, so we have the revisit with that. We also do complaints. So if the community calls in and has some complaints about facilities or foodborne illnesses, we respond to those as well. And then down at the bottom, you can see we do consultation. So oftentimes we'll have businesses that maybe have questions, and rather than us come out on a routine inspection and find something, we prefer they call us and let's head that off before we even come out and get you on the right path. We like to be educators before we are enforcers, so that's always our first line, is to make sure if someone's looking for education or some resource or information, we want to be sure that they've got that before we come out so they're operating safely. And then we did include fire, flood, and emergency response. So anytime we've got maybe a restaurant that has a small kitchen fire, we respond to that. We see a number of these things pop up from time to time, and we do respond to make sure if a facility has had some sort of fire or flooding, that they're good to go with the health department before they reopen and get back up and going. I would also say, in addition to these, we're also part of the plan review. So we didn't include this on here, but anytime we've got new businesses that are building or renovating, we do get involved in that just to make sure that people are putting in the sinks in the right places, and we don't want to cause our businesses to lose, dollars because they need to relocate something that we could have caught early on. And so we work really very proactively to ensure that we're helping our businesses get where they need to go the first time around. So this is just a bit of a snapshot of complaints. And so like I said, anytime we get a call from the community, we do respond to those. And so often we'll call, we'll see, is it substantiated? Is it something that we can investigate? And if it's found that we need to go out and investigate, we do. So this just kind of gives you an idea of how many of those calls were fielded in 2024. And then lastly, I wanted to share our inventory, just to give you an idea of what we're looking at here. So this is a breakdown of how many of these type of facilities we have in Branson specifically. I will make mention that with our food establishment, we have a differentiation between high, medium, and low risk facilities. So our high-risk facilities, we visit more often than we would a low-risk facility. And typically, there's an assessment we do to make sure we get our food establishments in the right category. So if they're serving something that's a higher risk, or we would go out there more often. If they're serving something that's not as much of a risk, we don't go out quite as often. And so that is what our inventory looks like for Branson specific. I wanted to share just a few highlights into 2025. And then also just make a few comments on 2024. And first and foremost, I wanted to say thank you all for that increase of our contract. That has made a big difference in having those 3 additional staff. They hit the ground running. We were able to get them training, get them up and going. And as far as our numbers go, we are doing better now than we ever have since I've been at the health department. So we're just really grateful for that and grateful for the partnership and support that's gone along with that, because it has made a difference. In 2025 specifically, I wanted to share just some of these numbers. We're at the mid-year point, and so we've already done 375 food inspections. We've already done 174 of the pool inspections at this point. Actually, because we are fully staffed, we were able to do 57 pool inspections in 2 weeks. So that's, for us, pretty unheard of to be able to jump out and get ahead of this. Also lodging, 126 lodging inspections. So that is a program that is really, really important to be sure that we get to every single one of those lodging facilities and get them squared away before that deadline comes in the fall for their business license and for their health permit renewal. So we're doing much better than we have in the past, and it's largely thank you to you all for your support with that contract. So we, in terms of our mid-year position, we're sitting in a really good spot, and we're looking forward to moving even forward with that. I would also make mention that we are able to do things that we haven't been able to do in a while. So we did offer our pool school course in person this year. That is basically an in-person seated course that we provide to anybody that operates a pool or maintains a pool that we would inspect. And it gives them all of the knowledge and information they need to do that in a safe way and to make sure that they're not just figuring it out on the fly. And it's very informative. It's multiple hours. I think we had nearly 100 participants this year. And so we had been trying to kind of piecemeal it together through some virtual options, and it just was not as effective. It's really helpful when we can get our inspectors out there meeting face-to-face with individuals so they can ask those questions, and we can make sure that before the season even begins, we get them off on the right foot. We also are in full swing of temporary events. So many years ago, temporary events were really only that summer kind of fall season, but we're seeing that is something that's exploding. So just kind of some trends, because we are now, year-round economy. We're seeing that those temporary events can happen anytime during the year, and we're seeing more and more of those. I would also make mention that in May alone, we had 48 water samples that we processed. So many people don't know we have a water lab, but we do provide that service for anybody with well water or needing that for real estate transactions. So that lab is typically hopping. I walked by today, and I think they had about 8 samples that they were getting ready to run when I left this afternoon. So I would also make mention some of the things that we've really focused on in 24 and into 25, because we have been fully staffed, is we've been able to look at our efficiencies. So we've shifted up some of our billing processes to make sure that we're doing that as efficiently as possible, making sure that we're doing that accurately and making sure that we're doing that timely. We also are really monitoring our workflow, so making sure that our processes are as efficient as possible, that we're getting things done quickly, and making sure that we're being accurate with that as well. We've been able to revive our QA program, so our inspectors now sit down frequently and say, what are the things that we're hearing and seeing that we need to look at and need to basically quality improve, and how do we need to do that? And then I would also say, again, back to that training. So we're able to get our staff into the trainings that they need to advance in their profession, which in turn helps us and our community because they have those advanced credentialings and those advanced trainings so that they really are content experts. So again, can't thank you enough for that support. And these are some of the things that we've really seen in a positive way that have come from that. So again, just thank you to you and your team. They've been great to work with throughout the year. And of course, we're always really appreciative of the partnership.
Any questions from the board? Artie?
Hi, Lisa. Since I'm kind of new to this, do you dispense, other than your Narcan, do you dispense any other drugs through the county health department?
So we do not dispense medications through the county health department. We do with our women's clinic. We have a medical provider. She's our medical director, and it is an actual women's clinic where they come in for exams. So she will prescribe birth control, but that's the extent of what we're prescribing at the health department.
Do you provide medical services to underage girls without their parents' knowledge?
So at this point in time, there are state programs that require us to do that. However, that's not something we encounter very often. And in order to not lose our funding, it's something that if we had that situation arise, we would have to because of patient privacy. And unfortunately, it's a funding issue. We would lose the entire program, but we do not see that happen very frequently.
Any other board members? Anybody in the audience have any questions? Lisa, you're fully staffed now on your inspectors?
You know, we do have some open positions. We have 2 new inspectors that are actually starting. Unfortunately, we had some folks that joined us and then decided they wanted to go on and pursue education and other opportunities. And so obviously we want to encourage people to better themselves, but we did refill those 2 of those positions.
Very nice. Well, thank you very much for the update.
Thank you.
Your Honor, the next item is a presentation from the Fire Department providing a brief overview of 2024 accomplishments and current initiatives in 2025.
The staff report from Chief Martin.
Good evening, Mayor and the board. Got your slideshow, Chad. May go without it. So, there it is. So wanted to walk through 2024 a little bit and a little bit into 2025. And just as a quick reminder that the mission statement for our department is to compassionately provide fire and rescue operations and risk reduction services and emergency preparedness for the city of Branson. And our vision statement is to achieve excellence through accreditation, and I'll talk about that more in just a moment. Obviously the highlight from last year was the opening of Fire Station 4 on the south side of Branson on May 1st. That also brought 12 new positions to the fire department. Some of those we did through some recruitment efforts, plus also a partnership with the workforce development to hire some firefighters that were in training. Also within the budget last year, focused a lot on obviously we replaced a lot of bunker gear, fire hose, equipment that we have on a replacement plan throughout the year. We added some protective equipment for hostile events as well for the firefighters, and started a process of adding gear for a little bit lighter weight gear for technical rescues and brush fires, for example. Replaced some outdoor warning sirens and the source capture equipment, which was a big initiative towards our health wellness for the firefighters that captures the exhaust from the fleet and moves it away from the structure. So a lot of just moving parts throughout the year, whether it be operational capital projects as well. Also last year this year, we worked through the collective bargaining agreement. Captain Jones serves as the shop steward for the local 152 here, and that was done, I would dare say, is about as efficiently as we've done it for many years. So thank you to our legal team that helped walk through that, and our human resources department as well. So a lot of good news through there, but I want to talk about the last piece at the bottom of the slide there. When we moved forward with Fire Station 4, the Insurance Services Organization, which rates fire departments across the country, said, build Station 4 and you should be good to go for an ISO Class 2, which was like a huge target for me to I wanted that. It's like I wanted the 2. So we went through the grading process after having the station open for a year, and he said, well, I was mistaken, he said, and he gave me some reasons why. But when we go through the process of the data, I think he pretty much said, calm down, don't kill me, because I was ready to go after him. He said, here's the why. And so we walked through the process, and this is a snapshot. I've got a whole PowerPoint for us if you'd like to see it later. But I want you to see where your fire department is compared to a peer group across the state of Missouri, which is the dashed line, or the dotted lines, and nationwide, which is dashed. So when you look at our community risk reduction programs at a 4.62, we are far ahead of all 3 categories, of all 3 at the state and across the country. When you look at the water system, and we partner that with Kendall, but also 2 other companies in our jurisdiction that we have to work with, we're above those standards again. When you look at the fire department points overall for our equipment and the resources that we have, we still outshine in this category and on that area. And then it gets a little bit tighter on emergency communications, but that's an important factor in any jurisdiction. I just don't think we cut anything short in those areas. So what this shows is great work by our staff. A lot of them have staff functions and manage a lot of these programs, and it shows us room for improvement. So when I said I want the 2, want it, I've been talking about it for a year or more. He said, well, you're doing a lot of great things as an organization, as a fire department, as a city. To get to the 2, you're going to be spending 7 figures. What do you mean by that? Well, you add a fire station, you're well into 7 figures. You add more personnel, you're well into 7 figures. You add more fleet. And so you start adding those things up, that's where that comes into play. So again, I have a longer presentation I'd be glad to share with you later, but I wanted to show you a bigger snapshot, just a quick look at where your firefighters are working currently very hard every day to sustain those operations. So let me give you an example of where I really do care beyond this. When I said our vision statement is to achieve excellence through accreditation, accreditation is a model, about 250 different measurements that we could eventually work towards to become an accredited agency, much like the hospital, much like the health department, much like Taney County paramedics. And that could be looked at as a sticker on the wall, hooray, you did it, great, but really the accreditation drives towards how do you do it better. So when you look at the response times in District 4, we're horrible, right, to the south before Station 4. So if you said we want to get to a structure fire with 3 engines and a ladder company in District 4 within 7 minutes or 6 minutes, we're going to be doing it maybe 20% of the time. At a fire station, you might get that first arriving company on the scene within 5 minutes, say 80% of the time. That's what you're doing, is you're striving for excellence by building measurements to do better. That's why we added Robert Smith in our department that does a lot of data. So we're a year into this to work towards that continuous improvement. We continue to see great impacts by our data as well. We did drop about 1,000 calls last year, but how'd you do that and why did you do it? Well, we had a model change in our EMS responses. We have improved on our responses to false fire alarms. So when you start looking at that, that's where some of those numbers have come down. I get worried about it from an economic side, that if our numbers aren't creeping up, or are we seeing an issue of tourism or what have you in our city, but I believe it's because of being more strategic about our responses last year. Our guys were getting whipped. They were running hard, 24, 25 calls a day sometimes. And so I think this model was more strategic to keep them battle ready for when they're really, truly needed. But then the right column shows fire losses, and this is where I love to see numbers under $1 million. It's a personal goal, not a standard of any kind, but when you think about the value of the city of Branson, cars, vehicles, boats, campers, houses, commercial buildings, plus all the contents, to see fire losses at 200 and, I'm sorry, I can't see it upside down there, but well under $200,000 in a year is something to brag about. Now, the guys would rather be fighting fire with hoses and driving the red trucks and doing what they're very well trained to do, but this shows a very, very good mark for our community. Then on top of that, $85 million worth of property saved. Quick responses due to fire alarm systems, automatic sprinkler systems, and the strong work by the firefighters in what they do. We've had 3 examples over the last 72 hours of fire alarms capturing smoke, and we've had virtually no damage because the guys were able to get there quickly and make a positive impact. The other thing you see by data is that by adding Fire Station 4, we dropped dual calls at the same time from 41% to 35%. So again, having better, more efficient response times. Fire safety training continues to be a focus within our organization. I would say our staff strive for excellence every day in their training and very proud of what they do. Most of them, they're required to do 240 hours of training annually. Most of them will receive 400, 500 hours a year. They are training junkies to be the best at what they do. Certification programs for driver operator, area operator, water tender, fire instructor, fire officer, emergency medical, and the list goes on. So plus a lot of time last year of just training a lot of new folks with the addition of the new fire station. So that's been a huge focus on our time. And then also just focus on safety to make sure that they're battle ready and have the proper equipment to do the job safely. And we have a lot of young people in the organization, in the fire department, but to be able to retire healthy, right? You did that on your career. So we're able to really focus on that as well. Fire prevention, you can read the data. You had it in your packet earlier, just a lot of great work being done here. Division Chief Patterson has taken the bull by the horns and really been training up. He's got one more new person on board now. We have 1 vacancy currently in this area. So we're very pleased with the work that he's doing to continue to work towards continuous improvement and customer service, whether it be public education or new commercial construction as well. Then emergency management, we got to hire this Josh guy. He's been a great addition to work on things that we just simply did not have time to do. Updating emergency operations plans, for example, working on some other directives that the administrator had sent our way to focus on communications, for example, internally. And so we've been able to get him trained up. He has a lot more growth to do, but he's done a lot of great work for us over the last couple of months that he's been employed in the fire department. And more work to come with a CERT program to rebuild after COVID, more outdoor warning sirens to replace and install, and just continue to update our planning processes as well. I think just to conclude up, just to say we've got a great team and a great staff, the best, I think, serve in Branson, Missouri. I would dare say that's police and fire. Our teams continue to just go and grow and strive for excellence, and I think the picture on the right says it all. So I'd be happy to answer any questions. Thank you. Thank you all.
Ted, thank you very, very much. That was not only informative, but really quite impressive, right? With all the stats and where the rankings are, the dollar amount saved every year, the extra training you do. Our community members tell our firefighters thank you every day. Well, I'll tell you what, as a mayor, I am extremely impressed with our fire department. I had the privilege of going to Captain Jim Nevin's 20-year retirement, and you could just feel it in the room how close these guys are. I mean, and I guess they would be, right? They pretty much live with each other 24/7. So the partnership continues between our fire department and the city providing you the tools for you to be able to have these successes. So I thank you very much. Artie?
Being a chaplain for the fire department, I get to spend a little more time around these knuckleheads than most of you do. And they are family. They know everything about each other's families and their lives, and they care about each other. on and off duty, and it's an honor for me to be able to do that. And I really appreciate y'all, really do. One other thing I wanted to mention, Ted had referred to the ISO ranking that he was trying to get. That ISO ranking means a lot to everybody in this room because that's what your homeowner's insurance is based on. The lower the ISO rating, the lower your insurance on your home. And so that's something definitely to strive for, and I appreciate you doing that, Ted.
Any other aldermen?
Mr. Mayor.
Ralph?
Just in the short time that I've been here, 4 years, I have to say, Ted, great stats, and those stats are trending obviously in the proper direction. But the one thing that besides providing them the tools necessary to meet those needs is the level of outreach that these guys intentionally do with our community. And it comes from that pride of being part of an organization that makes a difference. And these guys aren't heroes, they're firefighters, and the level of expectation that they have from themselves is far and above what the public expects. And I respect each and every one of you for every day stepping into that role. So thank you very much for all that you do.
Glenn?
Yeah, thank you, Chief, for the great report. Hey, could you just give a real brief update? I know we're doing some refurbishment repairs at the other stations. Could you just comment on how those are going?
That's really a great topic. When you've just built a new fire station, you buy new fire trucks and add new people. But we also have infrastructure that's gaining some age as well. So Fire Station 2 is doing a major rehab. It's about $1 million project that Michael's team is managing in the Public Works and Engineering Department. And that's caused by some construction time, some water infiltration around the brickwork. But that also is it's 30 years old, the facility. So it's time for an update on that as well. So that caused some water damage that moved us into the interior. Fire Station 3, again, at about 27 or 28 years old, the concrete is failing around the parking lot. So again, Michael's crew is project managing that in sections. So we did the front apron last year. We're doing about half of the back driveway this year on that process. And hopefully this year we'll be doing some architectural work to rehab some space in Fire Station 1, where our offices are, as we'll be moving the administration to the new police station, which will be the next big success later this year.
Anyone in the audience have any questions or comments for the chief? Hearing none, Chief, thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
Your Honor, the next item is a presentation of Branson Police Department update.
We'll begin with a report from Commander Chief Schmidt.
Thank you, Mayor and members of the board. I'm going to try to keep this brief to follow Kathy's rules. Kathy, if I have a Bueller moment, just give me the nod and we'll move on. So I start every one of my presentations on this with this, so you guys should be getting used to this, right? This is the procedural justice, the 6 pillars of 21st century policing, and how it all works with legitimacy to allow us to do our job in the community and have a great relationship with the community so we get that buy-in. Although this wasn't in 24, I did want to touch on this, and as you can see in the foundation of the 6 pillars, you've got the 4 points of procedural justice. And that fairness and impartiality really comes to mind because I'm sure each and every one of you got some sort of hate mail or phone calls or something because of somebody that we arrested this year. And as I told the news, we don't get to choose who breaks the law. It's up to us to enforce the law equally across the board. And that's why this is so important, because our community does pay attention to how we enforce it. And if we start picking and choosing how we enforce it, then we lose our legitimacy in the community. So this is our calls for service from 24. As you can see, although we had a small decrease in calls in dispatch, the majority of that was related to the fire calls. They changed some of the structure of what they responded to and so forth. As you can see, the police calls were actually up by 6%. And the majority of that is because we were fully staffed and we're out there doing proactive stuff. So that's actually a good thing for us. As you can see, our physical arrests are up, as are our traffic violations. The traffic violations since '22 have actually almost doubled in what we've been enforcing. That is a great indicator of proactive policing. And it made me very happy when I was able to research the numbers for your State of the City address. When we look at things that we can affect through proactive policing, things like breaking into cars, burglaries, stuff where our cops are out there contacting people in the middle of the night, acting suspiciously and so forth, those numbers just blew me away. I've never seen a decrease since 22 to 24. We saw anywhere from a 50 to an 80% decline in those numbers, which were phenomenal. So that's a big thank you to you all for helping us fund and get the equipment that we needed and the officers that we needed to do our job. So that it really made me happy. The next big thing is today was actually our go live for our new CAD RMS system. So what you're seeing here are some pictures of what the new system looks like. In the upper left corner, you're going to see the crime analysis. It's obviously blank because it's brand new and we don't have any numbers to put in there. We're waiting for our old CAD system to be able to import everything over. That'll take a couple months for us to do. But as you can see on that dashboard, we're going to have that ability to have our officers right there pick and choose what they're looking at and see real-time crime analysis where they don't have to wait for that product to be put out. The system is actually going to do that for them. The upper, or kind of the middle, is what our report will look like, personalized to the Branson Police Department with our logo and a much cleaner look to it than what we have had in the past. And then continuing around the clock there, our inventory, that actually, you're seeing an actual inventory analysis. That and the personnel analysis, up until now, we've been running old-time spreadsheets for all of that. And now this system is keeping track of everything. So it really is a force multiplier for us in getting our, just working the smarter, not harder type of situation. Chad, are you able to click on that hyperlink up top for me? So we're really excited about this. This is a landing page for our civilians. And this is also furnished by ProPhoenix as part of our CAD RMS system. So remember that crime map we used to have way back in the day before we went to NIBRS? We're going to be getting that back with this system. The old system operated under the UCR. This system is integrated with NIBRS, so we'll be able to actually have our residents can just come right to the computer and see at any time what our crimes are. So that whole thing that you hear out there on Branson Buzz and so forth about us covering crime up and stuff for the tourists, that's going to combat that pretty easily. Anything that they're going to want is going to be available to this. If you look at that report online, that is actually going to generate a report for them. We have a piecemeal system we use right now with email, and our officers or PSAs have to follow up. This is going to walk them right through where they get their number, and all the data that they enter goes straight into the reporting system, generates the report, gives us a solvability factor, all of that good stuff. So it's going to really streamline that. As you scroll down, just about every request they could have, compliments, wanted people, location checks, extra patrols, you name it, it's on there. So alarm registrations, everything very easy for them to get to. So we're excited about having that roll out for our civilians too. We're looking at that being live within about 30 days. Okay, Chad, you can go back. So talking about computer-aided dispatch, this is another project that we started in '24, and we are happy to say that we are moving forward with it in '25. On the left is our current, what we call the dungeon for our current dispatchers. That is one of our challenges to hire and keep good dispatchers in there. What you see on the right is what the new dispatch is generally going to look like. This is an existing PSAP or dispatch center. That's just 2 of the consoles. We're going to actually have 5 of those in the water tower. And the bottom right picture is what a new workstation will look like for them. They're actually going to have windows. We're pretty excited about putting them in a much better environment and hoping that helps us get across the finish line and getting the staffing where we need it. Well, so we wanted to include some pictures of just highlights through 2024. So hopefully most of you were there for that one in the top left. I'm hoping that This will go down in history as the best groundbreaking ever for a project. Everybody seemed to enjoy themselves as we were blowing things up and ramming doors and all that good stuff. You see one of our mass badge pinning and swearing in ceremonies with multiple employees. You also see the awards banquet where several people were honored. To include, I know we joke, but we even included Charlie Houston in this as one of the original members for tactical EMS. It's basically EMS for SWAT. So he got the inaugural hatchet that they earned for putting in a certain amount of time. So it's all engraved and everything. Very proud of that. Sergeant Teague, Sergeant of the Year. We just had a great awards banquet funded by the Citizens Academy alumni. So very proud of everything that we accomplished. Some more pictures. You see our Operation Blue Santa, which has really taken off. Many of the community events that we do throughout the year, to include working with Elevate Branson, National Night Out. The purple background there, that is one of our lieutenants, Dale Burnett, who successfully completed the School of Police Staff and Command through Northwestern. That is a very intensive 4-month program and advanced education. So as you heard me say when Kathy promoted me, we're going to promote from within. We're going to build our people from inside, not bring people in from the outside. So that's a great example of that. Several Employee of the Month recognitions. The one in the lower left, that is donuts that 6 donated to us for Law Enforcement Week last year, and they actually had my picture on them. So you know you've made it big time when your picture's on a donut as a cop. And then you see the 2 canines hitting one of our officers there that is volunteering as a decoy. That was another highlight. We did retire Cobra, and that is Recon on his graduation day. So we have both dogs out there operating, both dual-purpose dogs. We're very proud of them. You may have read recently where we had a very good apprehension with Canine Rico. So again, very proud of the handlers, the canines, and their supervision. Moving into 2025, boy, we've got a lot on our plate. We've been moving hard this year. Almost seems like I just blinked in 24, and here we are in 25. We have a projected ribbon cutting of November 19th for the new PD. I'm really excited about getting us moved in there. I'm really excited about being Ted's landlord when he moves in with us, and very excited about the capabilities we're going to have. New dispatch center, we just submitted the contract through contract management. You guys should see that come across in the next couple of meetings here, and that's part of utilities project for the water tower, and that includes everything on dispatch, and so excited about that. New vehicles for the fleet. With all the cops, we've discovered that, again, we don't have enough cars to go around, especially on our full days. So that's a good problem to have. That means we have plenty of officers out there protecting and serving. And so we're trying to build the fleet up, working with finance to be able to do that. And then, of course, the full implementation of Pro Phoenix. Excited about that just because we haven't been sure of the numbers under our kind of piecemeal system, and we're much more confident that as we move into this, that's purpose-built for NIBRs, that we're going to be able to capture the numbers very accurately and be able to really focus on our hot spots. So that concludes the presentation.
First important question, with the new officers you're bringing on, are you bringing on any softball players?
No, we're just not going to take Cindy at what she says about it being a no practice, only fun-based, non-competition. So we will practice for the next one.
Looking forward to the next one.
Yep.
Chief, how amazing is that, right? I'll tell you what, this Board of Aldermen and every citizen in Branson, we've been told year after year after year, the number one concern of our residents is public safety. And we hear that over and over. And the amount of effort that this board has put in to improving our fire department and our fire safety and our police department, I think that this Board of Aldermen, I think Kathy and our directors, I think that they deserve huge kudos for really, real world, raising that level of professionalism in our public service.
So if I can just speak from personal experience, when I first walked in the door, one of the most common things I heard, not only in the police department, but in other departments in the city, is not my job. That's really frustrating. The teamwork that has gone into all of these projects, Ted's already mentioned Mike and what he's done. He's take that from Station 4 and multiply that tenfold, and that's what we're looking at for the police station. And now he's got the dispatch center on top of it. But everybody, I mean, when we need something, it used to be a blanket no or not my responsibility to help you figure it out. If I go to Allison, she's going to figure out how to make it happen for me. She's going to tell me, okay, you can do this, but you have to cut here, whatever. How do we make it work? I was just talking to HR today. How are we going to get salaries up for dispatchers even better? Everybody's working together for the first time since I've been here over the last 3 years, and the results speak for themselves. I've never seen momentum and movement in a city that I've been associated with in my 34 years of government. So it's a testament to the entire team. It takes a village, and everybody's really working and knocking it out of the park.
Well, I think you deserve a round of applause. Any aldermen have any questions, comments, jokes for the chief? Glenn?
Great report, Chief, thanks. I had a lot of fun. We had a group of visitors in a few weeks ago, and I was explaining to them how much the citizens of Branson just love and support our fire and police department. And they had this kind of blank stare on their face. And I said, no, this is for real. And then I explained the Blue Shield award that you guys got from the governor, and they were duly impressed with that. So just want to say congratulations. Could you just briefly comment on, I know in the past, it was always staffing issues with officers, and I think we're pretty much past that. But where are we on staffing? I know you're looking for dispatch people, and hopefully the new dispatch center will help that along. But any other shortages or issues anywhere?
No, we've had one officer leave to take a job in a different place where he's going to be able to work with his wife and kids in the school system. But we already have somebody in the pipeline in academy for that. We're really excited to hire her. She was our borough co-responder, and she's a CIT instructor, and she had always had in the back of her mind she thought she'd like in law enforcement. She got in the car twice a week with the officers and decided, yeah, I can do this. So that's a huge gain for us because we gain a CIT instructor. So she's in the academy right now. We have another certified officer that's looking to come down from the Kansas City area. That would cover my 2 openings. And then we're still working on one more position to get approval for so that we can build up our command staff. So we're pretty good there.
And then you had a real nice article about the trafficking work that you're doing with other agencies. Could you just briefly highlight that?
Yes, so thank you to Jason for reaching out to me to do that. But that is one of our areas that you never know what you don't know. And so what we were able to do was team with Homeland Security and get an investigator position, a TFO position, and so she will not only receive all the training through the federal system, but also get access to their databases and their cases and so forth. But what it really does for us is it gives us the option of filing a case either state or federal. She will be a federal officer. Much of the time we can get what we call better bang for our buck, better time out of the federal system because they don't get paroled as quickly. And the federal system is kind of streamlined more than the state system is. So it gives us the opportunity to figure out, what kind of offender we have and which way we want to go and the resources to do it. And then the other piece of that is we've been active over the last year of teaming with advocacy groups and working operations for sex trafficking and so forth. And the reason we do that is although we don't have, this is not an area where we have a lot of them residing because the business base isn't there. But there are a lot in the Springfield area that will advertise on the dark web and the illicit sites. And so we monitor those and we start answering some of the ads and setting up some dates. And the reason we do that is we want them to know when they come to Branson at any given time, their date could be a Branson police officer and resulting in charges. When we do those operations, we We target, obviously the prostitute is who we're contacting first, but we try to work it. We watch for how they're getting there and everything. We try to get what people that watch TV commonly refer to as a pimp. And we want to get that person that's actually instrumental in that human trafficking and holding somebody kind of in that lifestyle. So while we may contact the prostitute, we generally offer services and avenues to get out of that life, and then we prosecute fully the pimp or the person that's involved in keeping them in that trade.
Any other members of the board? Ralph?
Presentation was great. The transparency on the new system, I think, is wow. I mean, it just goes to what this board set out to do from the very beginning, was to have that level of transparency to the community, that, you know, kind of reflection back out of, hey, nothing to hide here. Check it out. It's right here. We got it in finance. We have it in police. I mean, it's great. So all that to say is, wow. So let's talk about the sausage being made here. Let's just go back a few years ago, with, you know, to Glenn's point, like where staffing was then and where it is now, and and I guess what I'd like you to speak to is just the leadership that you've experienced and how you've been able to go from where we were just 3 short years ago to where we are now, and how, I mean, what a heavy lift. I mean, you know, talk about walking and chewing gum at the same time. You're walking, chewing gum, juggling 5 balls. This entire staff does that. I mean, the leadership at that level is just, I mean, it's impressive. So if you could speak to that just a little bit, where we started when you took over to where we are now, and how that.
Yeah, well, when I first came in 2017, one of the most common statements I would make to people is, wow, I feel like I've gone back in time about 20 years in progressive policing. And not in just Branson, but in the region. The entire region very behind in salary, systems, and just the way they do things. And when I say progressive policing, I'm not talking liberal versus conservative. I mean staying with the times and doing technology and the best practices and things along those lines. The good news is we knew it wouldn't take 20 years to make up for that, because we had that knowledge from the rest of the country and previous experience and everything. But what we needed was the support, and we didn't have the support. It takes money and it takes commitment on the part of the city. The first year I was here, our training budget was $13,000. We're at $150,000 now. So that gives you, just that little piece of it gives you an example of how much investment had to be made. I'm not sure, because I wasn't necessarily in those meetings, but I don't know if the question was being asked properly, if it was being presented properly, or if it was just a blanket no. You know, back when I walked in the door, it was very hard to even have access to a budget, and it was controlled by somebody not even in the department. And so the support and the professionalism that have come in, and like I said, if I'd have gone and asked for a 10-step system to top our officers out at the highest pay in the region under the old way of doing things, I would have been told blanket, no, it can't happen. Money's not there. Had the same conversation once Kathy came in and we started putting new directors in, had the same conversation. It's like, yeah, that can be done. Here's how we can make it work. And it was an easy ask, and we got it. So it's that support and it's that can-do attitude. I think that's the biggest change across the board in the city. The old, it's the Branson way, we've always done it, that's kind of out the window, and we are progressing. You know, when I did my studies, I had a whole semester on innovation. And the thing is even us in Branson, with our good down-home entertainment and family values, we are susceptible to the global economy. And that means that if they can't necessarily get it as easy here as they can online or through the internet services now, we're going to lose out. So we have to continue to innovate, whether it's business, whether it's law enforcement, you name it. We have to stay forefront in that, because we are competing with the world, and we have to remain relevant. So that is the attitude that has changed. It's not, well, we're just comfortable doing this, so we're going to stick with this. So.
Thank you, Chief, and thank you for your leadership in the position you stepped into.
Ruth?
I just want to say thank you to both chiefs tonight for the presentation. But this city is amazing, and I am so proud to be a part of it, with the leadership that's in this city and all the employees. being able to just have that cohesion, and it just creates such synergy. It's amazing, and I'm excited to how we're moving forward, so thanks for everything you do.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ruth. Okay, Chief, appreciate you.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you.
Your Honor, this is the first reading of Bill Number 6559, an ordinance approving the lease purchase agreement with First American Finance for the purchase of a Bobcat.
Good evening, Mayor and Board. We would like to enter into a lease purchase agreement with First American Equipment Finance.
Excuse me a second, I need to put this on the floor. You've heard the first reading of Bill Number 6559. Do I have a motion approving this bill?
So moved.
We have a motion, a second. Allison, were you saying something? I'm
Yes.
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Sorry about that. Okay, we would like to enter into a lease purchase agreement with First American Equipment Finance to finance the purchase of a Bobcat skid steer for the Parks and Rec Department. The total equipment cost is $66,965.66. This will be a 5-year lease agreement with a total payment amount annually of $14,172.91 at an interest rate of 4.54%. Are there any questions?
Any board members have any questions? Glenn?
Just briefly, it says lease purchase. What happens at the end of that payment stream? Are we buying it at a specified price?
Yeah, so
what is it?
we are lease purchasing it over a 5-year term, and so it's ours at the end of that 5 years.
Okay, so it's essentially financing it.
Yes, it's financing it.
Thank you.
Any other questions? 4.54%, pretty good?
Yep.
Yep. Having no questions, anybody in the audience have any questions about our fancy dancy Bobcat? Hearing none, let's vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Ayes have it.
Your Honor, I move to read Bill number 6559 for its final reading due to time.
Do I have a second? We have a motion and a second. Any member of the board wishing to speak regarding this matter? Anybody in the audience? Hearing none, we're going to vote to approve a second reading. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Ayes have it. Madam Clerk, would you please provide the introduction for this item?
Your Honor, this is the final reading of Bill Number 6559, an ordinance approving the lease purchase agreement with First American Finance for the purchase of a Bobcat.
You've heard the final reading of Bill 6559. Do I have a motion approving this bill?
Second.
A motion and a second. Any board members have any questions? Anybody in the audience? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, would you take a roll call vote, please?
Lucas? Howden?
Yes.
Denham?
Yes.
LeBlanc?
Yes.
Schultz?
Yes.
The result of the vote is 5-0. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Allison.
Your Honor, this is the first reading of Bill Number 6560, an ordinance amending Chapter 18, Buildings and Building Regulations, repealing and replacing Article 10, Dangerous Buildings, Division 1, generally, of the Branson Municipal Code to clarify the process of addressing dangerous buildings.
You've heard the first reading of Bill 6560. Do I have a motion approving this bill?
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Staff report from Amanda. Hello, Amanda.
Good evening, Mayor, Board. Thank you for your time this evening. This is an ordinance amending Chapter 18 of Building and Building Regulations. The purpose and scope of this ordinance provides a legal process for vacating, repairing, or demolishing buildings that are dangerous to repair let me start over. The ordinance provides a legal process for vacating, repairing, and demolishing buildings that are dangerous to public health, safety, or welfare. It applies to all existing and future dangerous buildings within Branson. This will repeal and replace Article X, Division 1, Dangerous Buildings. It will align with Missouri State statute. It'll provide clear definition with conditions, establish roles, responsibilities, and due process procedures, clear process for declaring and addressing dangerous buildings, limit liability, and places restrictions on transfer of ownership. Dangerous buildings mean any building or structure whose conditions are detrimental to the health, safety, or welfare of the residents of the city or the public. The existence of any or all of the following conditions constitutes a public nuisance. Some of these would be structurally instability, unsafe exits and egress, severely damaged or unsafe systems, code violations and unlawful conditions, fire and health hazards, blight and public nuisance. The roles and responsibilities would be the Planning and Development Director oversees enforcement of the ordinance, interprets provisions, and may adopt supplemental regulations. Also authorizes emergency action, coordinates repairs or demolition, and certifies costs for recovery via tax lien. The Building Division Supervisor will issue official notices and order declaring a building a public nuisance and oversees the inspection process. They will also initiate administrative hearings, coordinate with departments, and ensure enforcement of abatement orders. The inspectors will conduct inspections of potentially dangerous buildings and report findings to the Building Division Supervisor, and they will post unsafe to occupy notices and monitor compliance and may assist with obtaining administrative search warrants. Administrative hearing officer will conduct the hearing on appeals of noncompliance cases, taking testimony and reviewing evidence under oath. Issues written final and the administrative hearing officer issues final written findings and final orders determining whether a building must be repaired, vacated, or demolished. The interested parties would be the owners, occupants, mortgage companies. They must comply with the notice and order to repair, vacate, or demolish dangerous buildings within specific timeframes, have the right to appeal notices and orders, and participate in hearing, are responsible for the cost if the city abates the nuisance. Let's talk about the process just a little bit here. An inspector will evaluate the building for specific conditions. If deemed dangerous, a report is made to the Building Division Supervisor. The issuance of a notice and order would be a clear description of violations, orders, action, vacate, repair, or demolish with a deadline for remediation. Next, there's a right to appeal. Any interested party may appeal the notice within 10 days. If no appeal, the order stands as final. Administrative hearing will be held by a hearing officer. Evidence is presented and testimony given under oath. The hearing officer's decision, the findings of the fact provided within 15 days of the hearing, and the order will require abatement or dismiss the case. The notice of final order is the decision served to all interested parties, specifies actions required, a timeline, and a tax lien consequence for noncompliance. Circuit court appeal. Any party may appeal the hearing officer's order to the circuit court under Missouri state statute. The benefits for your property owner, there's a clear and precise timeline to remedy the violations. To neighbors and the general public, it'll improve safety and health by removing hazardous or unsanitary structures and the preservation of property values. The city and the government, this will align with best practices across Missouri municipalities and cost recovery mechanisms via tax bills or liens to fund city-initiated abatements. Emergency responders, it will reduce the rise of injury from structurally unsafe buildings during the fire rescue or inspection operation, better identification of high-risk properties. The future property owners, investors, and tenants, it will allow protection through disclosure requirements and assurance hazards have been addressed or will assume with knowledge and liability. Staff recommends approval of the ordinance amending Chapter 18, Building and Building Regulations, to repeal and replace Article X, Dangerous Buildings, Division 1, generally of the Branson Municipal Code, to clarify the process for addressing dangerous buildings. I'm here to answer any questions that you might have.
Amanda,
Yes,
this is amending chapter 18.
Yes, sir.
Do we have a sense of what we're amending it from?
So it's
Because you just shared a mouthful. What did we have?
in place. Well, what we have in place currently, we found a lot of gaps, and there wasn't a clear process on how the city could move forward to identify, to post, to have an appeal process. This year, we had a few instances in the city that raised our awareness to dangerous buildings. And so our legal division took a deep dive into our code, found many things throughout the code that were either contradictory in nature within the code itself, and a few other things. Solon, do you mind giving the mayor just a brief?
Sure, all that stuff that Amanda said is true, and we also found a lot of due process deficiencies. So there were notices that were not clear, like she said, which were causing quite the headache for some of the people that were attempting to follow our process, which was very convoluted. Cities amend codes all the time, over the decades of their existence, and this was one that probably had been amended. Who knows? I didn't look at when it was amended long ago, and it was not okay. So this is exciting. I've spent personally hours on this. Other attorneys have spent hours on it. Amanda and Norm have spent hours on it. It's not an easy lift. It's very technical. You have to make sure you're following and cross-referencing right. So this is really exciting for Branson, because obviously we have buildings that probably need to have some attention.
Ralph?
Mr. Mayor, this strikes me as in the spirit of the Lodging Safety Initiative. I mean, and what a success that was. In the beginning, there was some pain because of, they had never been acted upon in that way, but it was all in the interest of public safety. And so we definitely have, we got some swings at that ball. We know how to do this, and this really outlines succinctly what the expectation is on both sides, and really what the ramifications for for violations. So that's how I see this. This is really just in the spirit of really cleaning up some things that put our community at risk. And kudos for the work you guys have done. And I think this is a really, really good thing. And if it's any indication, the success of the Lodging Safety Initiative, this will be just as powerful and just as good.
Very nice. Ruth?
I love this. Thank you to everybody who worked on this. Transparency. I got a call earlier, and just because of going to the Branson Buzz or whatever on Facebook, had questions. They just see these headlines and just have such negative comments. And I'm like, no, you have to read the whole article. You have to see what's going on. The city is going above and beyond to work with any of the development in the city. So thank you so much. This is so transparent, and it's going to help all the departments, but it's also going to help someone that really wants to bring their building into compliance.
Artie?
Amanda, is this dealing with just structural issues or physical health as well?
So, yeah, we do address in the code that we have tonight, anything with health or safety. I believe that it's listed in the code as one of the key factors that if there is any health or safety issues, the health, safety, or welfare. So those are all included in part of the declaration of a dangerous building as well.
The reason I bring this up, Mayor, it was brought to my attention a week ago that somebody had attended a theater here in town, and the person that was on stage was having to duck all the time because there were bats flying all around him, and that the air conditioning wasn't working, and it was they left halfway through the show. But I was just curious if something like that would fall under this.
I think, Norm, did you want to answer that?
I can speak
Well,
to,
looks like
I
you
would
were
say that
first.
would be a health or safety
Yeah.
concern, and I think a complaint could be filed, and we could check into that.
it's probably not going to fall under this code. It's probably going to fall under other health code stuff.
I'm guessing with the
Maybe.
health department. Lisa, should we charge extra on your shows if they have live animal? Did you want to say something, Lisa? If you want to say, I need you up here, please. And I appreciate you coming up.
So I would say we would welcome a complaint to be filed with us, and we could certainly look into it and figure out which code it fell underneath. Because if it was, there's a number of things that could fall underneath, and so we'd want to make sure we were following the proper avenues. But we always look into those kind of complaints when we get them, so feel free to give us a call.
Anybody in the audience have any questions or comments? Representative Seitz is in the house.
I am. For the record, I'm State Representative Brian Seitz. I do have a question. Does this ordinance cover commercial buildings, or does it lend itself to private residences as well?
Commercial and residential.
Both?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Would this forward the process of getting some of those eyesores, particularly those left behind by the tornado, that are still on the strip, unoccupied, and people pass by, and it looks like a war zone still with some of those? Would this move the process forward to get them to do something about those properties?
Yes, sir. This would lay the groundwork for being able to address some of that.
Alex?
Okay, good. Those are my questions.
Hey, good evening, Board Representative. Want to address that issue. That's something that we're definitely working on. In fact, in the last year's budget, we had an appropriation for $750,000 for the revolving loan fund for demolition. And really, this is the precursor, right? This is setting the stage for how we're going to determine and move forward through that process. I'll tell you, our initial plan is to have the revolving loan fund for demolition to this board, hopefully early September. And so this is really the precursor and really what's going to help guide that process. So that's why you're seeing this ordinance in front of you this evening. Thank you.
Sounds great. Thank you.
You bet. Thank you for asking. Any other questions from the audience? Any other questions from the board? Hearing none, let's vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Ayes have it.
Your Honor, this is the first reading of Bill Number 6561, an ordinance amending Section 18-7 of the Branson Municipal Code to create an exception to the appeals process for dangerous buildings.
You've heard the first reading of Bill Number 6561. Do I have a motion approving this bill?
So moved.
Motion and a second. Staff report from, Amanda's still here.
So this is really just a complement to the dangerous building ordinance that you just heard. And it's pretty straightforward. I'm just going to read from the facts itself. This amendment to Section 18-7, Board of Appeals creates an exception to the appeals process for dangerous buildings. The need for this exception is to utilize the Chapter 30 administrative appeals process of an appointed administrative hearing officer for dangerous building appeals within Chapter 18. This will allow for expedited hearing with timely notice to address dangerous buildings. And the amendment impacts Article X of Chapter 18 only. Dangerous buildings must be addressed and notice must go out to the building or structure's status is defined, creating an appeal process that can effectively hear all aspects needed when necessary is an important aspect of the appeals process for fair review of the status of the building or structure. Here to answer any questions you may have. Staff recommends approval.
Thank you. Any aldermen have any questions? Would the audience have any questions? Hearing none, let's vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Ayes have it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Amanda.
Your Honor, this is the first reading of Bill Number 6562, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to execute a budget stabilization funds allocation agreement with the Missouri Highways and Transportation Commission pertaining to West 76 Country Boulevard, segments 1 and 2 from State Highway 376 to Harvey Lane in Branson, Missouri.
You've heard the first reading of Bill 6562. Do I have a motion approving this bill?
So moved.
Motion is second. Staff report from Michael. Hello, Michael.
That is a mouthful, and thank you for reading that out today. And Members of the board and Mr. Mayor, we're excited that the finalized Missouri Highways Department of Transportation Commission stabilization funds is in hand. It's 16 pages of an agreement between MoDOT and ourselves for the $6.2 million that was allocated for 76. I wanted to say a big thank you to Alex and Kathy for helping me through, and Solon, and of course Representative Brian Seitz and Daniel for their help to work with the commission. And this document is literally as fresh as it comes. It's wet ink that's there, and we're excited for the continued development of segment 1 and 2. This is another piece of the funding puzzle, and it is $6.2 million that adds to it, and we are very close to kicking that off, and so we're excited about that. And lots of pieces over the last year you've seen me bring along with other staff, and we're very, very excited. So with the TAP and then these things and other funding mechanisms, we're right on our way. So I'm going to ask for a double read. I never ask for a double read, but we need this by the end of the month. And so we still need a signature from them to make sure it's in the right appropriation year. Happy to answer any questions.
Before questions, I'd like to publicly acknowledge and tell Representative Seitz, we truly appreciate you going to bat for us in Jeff City. Any questions, comments from the board? Questions, comments from the audience? Hearing none, let's vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Ayes have it.
Your Honor, I move to read Bill number 6562 for its final reading due to timing.
Do I have a second? We have a motion and a second. Any members of the board wishing to speak to this? Any members of the audience? We'll be voting on the approval of a second read. So all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Ayes have it. Madam Clerk, would you please provide introduction for this item?
Your Honor, this is the final reading of Bill number 6562, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to execute a budget stabilization funds allocation agreement with the Missouri Highways and Transportation Commission pertaining to West 76 Country Boulevard, segments 1 and 2, from State Highway 376 to Harvey Lane in Branson,
You've heard the
Missouri.
final reading of Bill number 6562. Do I have a motion approving this bill?
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. Any members of the board wishing to speak? Any members of the audience? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, would you please provide a roll call vote?
Lucas?
Yes.
Howden?
Yes.
Denham?
Yes.
LeBlanc?
Yes.
Schultz?
Yes.
The result of the vote is 5-0. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Good job on that. We'll do our reports, and I'm going to start with Alderman Schultz.
Ooh, caught me off guard there.
Yep, just mixing it up.
Okay, just to kind of tag on to what the mayor said about streetscape, walking downtown, talking with merchants, people are very excited, happy to see the street open, happy to see all the work that got done. Plantings are even in already if you haven't been up there, temporary lane paintings and so on. So all those merchants on that end are real excited. And the other good thing is, when you talk with the merchants now in the new section, it's real easy now to say, well, just go look up there. You know, you followed that project. Now you can see what it's going to be like here. There's really not much difference between the two. So I think people are finally seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, getting more optimistic in the merchants, and that's great. And now hopefully we're past the rainy season and the tourists start showing up in droves and rewarding that district for all the work that's been done there. And then I was going to report on the Branson Citizens Police Academy was mentioned in Chief's report. And I know they have a fundraiser coming up, but I believe the dates were changing. If I may, do you know the dates of the fundraiser? Okay. We'll do it.
We'll all meet at your house after the meeting.
Yeah, I won't do it because it may have changed, so I can maybe catch it at the next meeting. That's it for me.
Okay, Ralph?
Yeah, it kind of caught me off guard too. And I was starting on this side. And just to kind of piggyback on what Glenn said, yes, I mean, people are, the merchants downtown are really, really pleased with the level of quality that was laid down there. And to think that that was done even with the number of days of rain that we had, and they were still able to get it done on time. And that was a really good thing, a testament to their dedication. As far as the rest of the city, Glenn, they're here. They're busy. Lots of cars. Man, it takes forever to get around. So, but that's a good thing. And, I encourage people to get out and check out the things that are going on around the city, whether it's, the police station, downtown, everywhere. We have something going on just about in every sector of our community. And that's a very good thing. And very happy to have the leadership that we have, that people are just on point and doing their job, being able to do their job, let's just say that. So kudos to everyone. And even, the park across from my house, and they keep it in stellar condition. They keep the trash clean, they keep the grass mowed, and that's a good thing. So everyone in our staff is fired on all cylinders, and it's gonna be hot out there, so everybody stay hydrated, and just stay alert, stay alive.
Ruth?
I probably sound like a broken record, but I love this record. The professionalism of our leadership in this city it's just over the limit. And the wonderful things that are taking place in this city because of the leadership that we have and because of the amazing, amazing employees that we have. Thank you so much. It's so nice to be able to just be so proud to have the leadership.
Thank you, Ruth. Marshall?
Hey, so I didn't have anything, but something got brought up during the meeting that I thought I'd address, and I'm going to address to Artie. Artie, thank you for your service as a chaplain, buddy, on the for the firefighters. My pastor, Tom Wilcox, has done that for the police for many, many years, and when I first embarked upon my biblical studies degree, I thought I was going to go that direction, and now they got me running a restaurant. But anyway, I just thought you needed a little recognition for that, too. I appreciate what you do with that, buddy.
Artie?
Again. I want to, piggyback on what Glenn said about downtown. And I'm a big enough man that when it's due, I will do it. I feel that I owe an apology to Kathy and to Michael and the rest of the staff that's been working on that program downtown, because I fought you tooth and nail, and I still think I was right, but no, you guys have done a wonderful job down there, Michael, and you should get a lot of attaboys from that, because the comments I'm hearing from downtown are positive. For the most part, you're going to get the naysayers, but for the most part, they're good. Even from Steve Hartley, he said that their total business to date was only down about 6%. And he thought that between now and the end of the year, they'd be able to make that up. Sure. So things are looking up. As Ralph said, they're here. Everything is busy. And we started seeing baseball and softball games last December at the Recplex. That's right. And they haven't let up at all. And it's just awesome to see all those people in town. And I make a point of stopping, as Glenn can tell you, and I'll be walking down the street and I'll be talking to guests and asking them, how's it going? Are you enjoying yourself? What have you been to see? You want some recommendations? And so I just start rattling things off, and they're appreciative. They like to know that we have a friendly community.
You bet.
And we do.
One thing you may want to add is offering some discount tickets for a 90-minute presentation. Kathy? No? Just a few things. I agree with what many of the board members said. I believe our city is running on all cylinders. I couldn't be more proud of each department. Michael, I believe you are owed extra kudos.
Yeah.
Last week, I attended the first annual Flag Day Ice Cream Social at the Recplex. Chief Martin, I believe, headed that up. If he didn't head it up, he was one that handed me my ice cream, so. And I attended the ribbon cutting for Jeep Branson. This is the second annual year Jeep Branson's in town. They weren't sure how many Jeeps, but they said thousands. The Jeep rally they have up in Lake of the Ozarks, they said they get over 10,000 Jeeps up there, and they're really excited about that Jeep function just rapidly growing here. I will tell you firsthand, our town is busy. Last weekend and this weekend, I've had lodging properties tell me they were 100% sold out. When Leanne and I try to cross town, it's taking longer. So we either need to add more roads, Michael, or stop marketing. I think we'll work on our roads. That's all I have tonight. Thank you, every board member, and thank you all for coming. Oh, entertain to adjourn.
So move.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Now we'll adjourn.